Ecological succession. Succession is a directional, non-seasonal, cumulative change in the type of plant species that occupy a given area through time. It involves the processes of colonization, establishment, and extinction, which act on the participating plant species. Most successions contain a number of stages that can be recognized by the collection of species that dominate at that point in the succession. Succession begins when an area is made partially or completely devoid of vegetation because of a disturbance. Some common mechanisms of disturbance are fires, windstorms, volcanic eruptions, logging, climate change, severe flooding, diseases, and pest infestation. Succession stops when species composition changes to longer occur with time, and this community is said to be a climax community. The concept of climax community assumes that the plants colonizing and establishing themselves in a given region can achieve stable equilibrium. The idea that succession ends in the development of a climax community has had a long history in the fields of biogeography and ecology. One of the earliest proponents of this idea was Frederick Clement, who studied succession at the beginning of 20th century. Types of succession. On the basis of origin, ecological succession may be of the following two types. Primary succession. It is the establishment of plants on land that has not been previously vegetated. It begins with colonization and establishment of pioneer species. Secondary succession. It is the invasion of a habitat by plants on land that was previously vegetated. Removal of fast vegetation may be caused by natural or human disturbances such as fire, logging, cultivation, or hurricanes. Whereas, on the basis of location, ecological succession may be xerox or hydrox succession. Xerox in deserts, on wetland, uh, and deserts, and hydrox and wetlands and water. This is the example of ecological succession. Exposed rocks, lichens, etc., grasses, mosses, ferns, some small herbaceous plants, shrubby plants, young forest, tulip, poplar, etc., mature forest, white oak, etc., climax forest, beech and sugar maple, etc. This is the main example of ecological succession in the form of diagram. Xerox succession. Plant succession starting on bare ground or rock and culminating in a mature climax forest is called xerox succession. The pioneer species such as lichens and mosses result in the gradual accumulation of soil. The lichen colonies on these boulders are the first step in xerox succession, along with mosses. They trap dust particles and form a layer of soil on the rock surface that allows other plants such as grasses and herbs to become established. Hydrox succession. Plant succession starting on relatively shallow water, such as ponds and lakes, and culminating in a mature forest as termed as hard rock. Xerocer. are The term xerocer refers to changes in community structure during Xerox succession. It includes the different stages in a Xerox succession of ecological communities originated in extremely dry conditions such as sand deserts, sand dunes, salt deserts, rock deserts, etc. A xerocer may include lithospheres on rocks and semospheres on lands following a stages of lithospheres. Crustose lichen stage, first stage, where rock consists of solid surface are very large boulders and there is no place for rooting plants to colonize. The crustose lichens can adhere to the surface of rock and absorb moisture from atmosphere. Therefore, these colonize the bare surface of rock fast. The propagules of these lichens are brought by the air from the surrounding areas. These lichens produce acids which corrode the rock and therefore collect wind-blown soil particles among them that help in formation of thin film of soil. When these lichens die, they are thoroughly decomposed to humus, thus promote soil building and environment becomes suitable for growth of foliose and proteose type of lichens. This is the example of rock containing lichens. Stage 2 foliose and fructicose lichen stage. Foliose have leaf-like, tally white. Proticose lichens are small bushes. They are attached by the substratum at one point only, therefore do not cover the soil completely. They can absorb and retain more water and are able to accumulate more dust particles. Their dead remains are decomposed to humus, which mixes with soil particles and help building substratum and improving the soil moisture contents. Further, the shallow depreciation in the rocks and crevices become filled with old and topsoil layers increase further. These autogenic changes favor growth and establishment of mosses. This community includes Parmelia and Dermatocarpon, etc., which have large leaf-like thorns. Moss stage. The spores of xerophytic mosses are brought to the rock where they succeed lichens. Their rhizite penetrates such among the crevices, secretes acids, and corrode the rocks. The bodies of mosses are rich in organic and inorganic compounds. When they die, they add this compound to the soil to increase the fertility of the soil. Since mosses develop in patches, they catch soil particles from air and help increasing substratum. The changing environment leads to migration of lichens and help invasion of herbaceous vegetation. Herb stage. Herbaceous weeds, mostly annual, such as asters and evening primroses, invade the rock. Their roots penetrate deep down, secrete acids, and enhance the process of weathering. Leaf litter and death herbs and humus to the soil. Shading of soil results in decrease in evaporation and there is slight increase in temperature. As a result, the xeric condition begins to change and biennial and perennial herbs and xeric grasses begin to inhabit. These climatic conditions favor growth of bacterial and fungal populations, resulting in increase in decomposition activity. Stage 5 Shrub stage. Herb and grass mixture is invaded by shrub species such as rust and others. Early invasion of shrub species is slow, but once a few bushes have become established, birds invade this area and help dispersal of shrub seeds. This results in dense shrub growth, shading the soil and making conditions unfavorable for the growth of herbs, which begins to migrate. The cell formation continues and its moisture contents enhance. The environment becomes mesic or moderately moist. Tree stage. Changes in environment favor colonization of tree species. The tree sapling begins to grow among the shrubs and establish themselves. The kind of tree species inhabiting this area depend upon the nature of the soil. In poorly drained soil, oaks establish themselves. The trees form canopy and shade the area. Shade-loving shrubs continue to grow as secondary vegetation, leaf litter and decaying roots weather the soil further and add humus to the making the habitat more favorable for growth of trees. Mosses and ferns make their appearance and fungi population grows abundantly. Forest or climax stage. Succession culminates in a climax community, the forest. Many intermediate trees develop prior to establishment of a climax community. The forest type depend upon the climatic conditions.